Check 1 2. Check 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. Hey man, I lost you. All right, let's check the handheld check. Yep, let's try it. Okay. Check 1 2 3 4 5. Check 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. All right, and we'll check the other one now. Hold on. Check 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. All right, buddy, I appreciate it. Thank you. Bye. Okay, need to get a thumbs up from anyone back there. Let me know how we're doing with sound. Check 1 2. Thank you, Matt. I appreciate it. Check 1 2. Testing 1 2 3 4. You're welcome.
First thing I started at 47. He had a lot. Yeah, no, I know why. The Christmas stats were always off 15. Yeah, 15. Yeah, I just meant Matt regardless.
I beat you. Nothing just crooked though.
I see the whole thing. Yeah, that's right. Rebels was threatening the spread in Oxford. Kentucky leading 62-42. Mexico State. I don't know.
All right, really, first of all, I want to thank our crowd. It was an amazing environment, and even after the game, them waiting on our players to come in the locker room, the passion and the energy and the loyalty they have is awesome, and we really appreciate that. Certainly helped us in the game, especially early in the game, to get us jump-started a little bit and got out of the gates pretty quickly. Outstanding job by A.J. Turner and our kickoff return team, and Coleman Hutzler, our special teams coordinator, really blocked well. He hit the crease, exactly what we wanted. And then one play, and we're in the end zone. And then so got some momentum defensively, got some stops, got some things going offensively. And you're up 17, and we just got to continue to plow away on some things offensively. I think a lot of and I know from the naked eye you say, well, it's an inside zone, but there's a lot of things going on as far as getting the ball back out on the perimeter from the zone read, whether it's an inside zone or a bounce zone, and there were some things that we felt like we could have gotten in the game. We got a little stagnant there, but proud of Brandon and how he performs. Really, it's a big ball to Brian Edwards on the sideline over there. And then to answer their score, to make it now a 2-score game with a field goal, you got 2 great balls thrown down the field. They bust the coverage on our sideline, and Hayden Hurst can't catch the corner out, and then and the other play as well. So really proud of him, how he responded. That's what good teams do. They respond, and they gain momentum back in the game. And there at the end, didn't want to put our defense back on the field. We played it close to 100 snaps in the game. When you play a team like this, that's what they're going to do. They average 5.7 yards per play. We average 5.9. We needed to have more possessions in the game. Really proud of our guys. When you play teams like this, you get them in the red zone, those pass zones condense down. It's harder to throw the ball, and when you're able to stop the run, it makes them very difficult. So we forced them to field goal. So that was part of the plan, was to grind it out a little bit more offensively, create ball control for us, and then when they did get the ball in the red zone, make stops. And when you play a team like this quarterback's going to play on Sunday. He's really good. So he'll be, up to Deshaun Watson, the second-best quarterback we'll see this season, in my opinion. I mean, the guy's a really good player. You give those guys credit. They got a good football team, but it's a very gutty performance by our players. They kept battling, kept hanging in there in the game. They fought through adversity. We got to continue to build on that, and we need to have some consistency from that. And that's been my biggest issue with last week, was not how we played the game. But I'll go ahead and open it up for any questions.
Raise your hand, we'll get a microphone to you. Josh in front.
What was the plan going in? Was this Brandon's game from start to finish going in?
That was the plan going in. We felt like that we just got to continue to generate things in the run game, Josh, and we felt like with the quarterback legs, it creates some things for us and where we are. We're going to continue to progress our offense. We need to, but that was the plan going in.
At this point, do you feel like Brandon is your quarterback?
Yes.
Will, defensively, you guys made some big plays in the red zone. Is this a step forward defensively from last week, or back, or where are we?
Are you seriously asking me that question? Did you watch us last week?
I did.
I've got it on tape if you need to see it. It was embarrassing. It's a lot better. When you hold an offense like that, it's a really good offense. You just watch them every Saturday afternoon on the little ticker when it runs and see their scores. And you hold an offense like that to 15 points is an outstanding job, first of all, by our defensive staff, but mostly by our kids. Our film from last week, I still got it if you want to watch it.
That last play on that option, was there any doubt that you were going to go for it on that fourth and one?
I mean, we had played 150 snaps. We were dead on defense. We had no pass rush, and that's why those teams, the game is never over when you play teams like that. So when we went for it on the fourth down in our territory, that was we needed to steal possessions in the game and keep them off the field. And there was never we didn't blink. It was just about a matter of what we called, and it was an outstanding call by Kurt and our staff.
When you recruited Jamarcus King, did you see the potential for plays like that interception he had in the end zone?
Right. I mean, he's got a lot of length. When you throw fade balls, generally you like to go against the shorter defensive backs. They threw the back shoulder fade on Chris Lamont, who made a fantastic play on that ball. People don't understand how difficult a play that is, but Jamarcus made a really nice play on the ball. That was a huge momentum change in the game. They get the fourth down stop, and they got a lot of momentum, and so extremely proud of Jamarcus and the play he made right there.
Front row right here.
At what point in the week did you guys decide that Brandon would be your guy? When did you guys make that decision?
Well, Sunday, Rope and I talked after the game. And again, this is not a slight on Perry Orth at all. We need to have some legs from the quarterback position at this time about where we are with our offense, and felt like that would be the best for us at this time. And we'll continue as we continue to evolve and guys continue to grow up in our system. And again, Randricus Davis played well. Brian Evers did some good things. Casey Crosby made a couple big catches. Hayden Hurst. I mean, there's a lot of firsts going on. Keel Pollard got some snaps tonight, which was good. David Williams played extremely well. Very proud of David. Came in and made a huge catch on a third down. Acrobatic catch, ball thrown behind him. Brandon did a nice job of keeping the play alive, and then made a couple nice runs where he knifed the defense. And that's something he needs to get behind his pads and do. And if he continues to do that, he's going to get a bunch of snaps.
Just what does it say to you about David Williams coming off last week that he was able to come and deliver this kind of performance?
Well, Dave and I had a good talk this week about the things he needed to continue to improve on. It was just consistency in his performance every day. And you give David credit. It takes a mature young man to respond, and he responded the right way. But, we had a lot of guys that responded that maybe not have been in the limelight of where we are in our program. So, again, there's so many positives happening. Obviously, are we pleased that we won the game? Absolutely. But, to me, it's more about the day-to-day, about how we approach tomorrow. It's going to be really, really important to me about how our mindset is coming in the locker room. It's about the culture of your program and where it is. And our guys got to understand that part of it. We didn't understand that last Saturday night.
Third row.
Coach, beginning of the game, Brandon McElwain kept the ball a lot on the zone read. As it went on, it seemed like he kept handing off a little bit more. Was that by design, trying to hold on to the ball, or was that just him handing off a little bit more?
It's twofold. Number one, it's some are straight calls to give because of the ball handling and sometimes some mistakes that can be made. We just want to give the ball. Some runs are reads, where it's going to be a read situations, and then really threefold. The defense sometimes can take away the quarterback's legs by how they play you, because it's old split back veer at the end of the day, and you're reading someone, and by how you call your defense, you can try and take away a runner in the game, and they did some things to take away the quarterback's legs in the game. So credit them for their adjustment.
Well, the defense was on the field basically 2/3 of the game. Can you just talk about conditioning, and because that's a lot?
Credit for Jeff Dillman and our guys. I mean, they played well. We were gassed, but the guys kept persevering. Credit our kids, but our strength staff, they've done an outstanding job of our guys being in shape and playing a fast tempo. You play close to 100 snaps. I mean, that's a bunch of snaps, especially rushing the passer. That's the most exerting thing you do as a player is rush the passer. It just deadens your legs. And I'm really, really extremely proud of our guys.
Hey, you kind of called Chris out a little bit last week, and this week thought he played much, much better. Can you talk about the way he responded?
Well, we did a couple tackling drills this week, for him and several guys, and he displayed great toughness in the week. And I said, why don't you do it on game day? You obviously are capable of doing it. So, again, that goes back to coaching. You got to get it out of your players, and that's my fault, not his.
Your initial impression of how your offensive line played tonight?
Good. I mean, I thought we got yardage when we needed to get them. We thought we protected the passer pretty well. We had one edge pressure. We had a pressure coming off the goal line that was on the running back. So we'll go back and look at that. But I thought, for given the opportunities they were in the game, we got some things going in the run game. I think we got to continue to search for the things we do really well in the run game. A lot of people are playing us from a 3-down look and 4-down look. There are some runs that are good versus 3 down. There's some that are good versus 4 down. We need to be able to call it and haul it, so to speak, in my opinion, and that verbiage, and that means just be able to run it and block all fronts. So we got to continue to narrow some things down.
A little outside the game, but I noticed during the Gamecock walks you had your guys kind of zoned in and hanging out with the fans a little bit more than in the past. Is it important to you for them to take in the whole game day experience?
Absolutely. I told our guys I don't want any headsets on in Gamecock walk. We need to appreciate our fans and what they do for us, and that's really important to me. And those people spend a lot of money and a lot of time and a lot of energy and passion to come watch us play, and we need to return that respect back. And that's really important to me, and it's good to hear our guys handle it the right way.
The medium to deep stuff that Brandon misses high occasionally, is there a theme there?
Normally it's overstride, and when you overstride, you drop your elbow, which he does some, it pushes the ball, and that's something we'll continue to work on. But I really thought he was very accurate on the deep ball. I thought the one with AJ, I thought could have laid out maybe, on that one on their sideline. We had the wheel route from the back. We picked the backer off, or we legally picked the backer off, and I thought he had him there. I thought that was a well-thrown ball. He throws the deep ball extremely well.
Can you talk about the negative plays that your defense was able to come up with, the tackles behind the line of scrimmage, kind of putting it behind down in distance?
Yeah, well, it's when you play a team like that, you got to get vertical penetration, and our guys got some good vertical penetration in there. But you got to finish on this quarterback. This guy was slippery, and he'd bounce around. He's a gamer. He's a tough kid. He battles and battles and battles, and really proud of how our guys kept what I call relative contain off the backside. So when he spins out, we have somebody there. We really needed to hem him up. And I want to compliment Darius English, the play. We had a max blitz on the 2-point play, and something we haven't covered a lot. And for him to peel the quarterback in that situation was absolutely phenomenal. That's not something that you see a lot, and it's a heads-up, smart play. Heck of a play by Darius.
Was getting guys like Randrikis, Keel, and Chavis more involved in the pass game the plan, or was that a byproduct of Debo being out?
Well, no, obviously we'd love to have Debo, but right now, that's where we are, and those guys are good players. Randrikis made a fantastic catch on our sideline. He's going to be a really, really good football player. Chavis Dawkins is going to be a really good player. Brian Edwards is a good player. Those guys they're all going to continue. The game's going to continue to slow down for them. They're going to continue to play well. And extremely proud of those guys. Yeah. What's that?
So do you expect Debo back next week?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. It was kind of a game time decision. We felt like he might be able to go.
Coach, you mentioned Brandon's mobility, but what else did you see from him that made you want to start him this week?
Well, I think he's just got a lot of poise about him. He's got a lot of the it factor you look for at that position. He doesn't get fazed by a lot. In the spring game, I was extremely impressed with his poise and how he came in and handled himself. And he continues to work at it. He's got a very good work ethic. He's extremely intelligent. So there's a lot of the intangible qualities you look for at the position. So extremely proud of Brian. Yep.
Is it any tougher for young quarterbacks to run at kind of that quick tempo, and how is Brandon sort of keeping that kind of organized?
Well, I think that sometimes the tempo helps those guys because it eliminates a lot of the pre-snap thinking that go on. And so there's some times that I think at times in spring and in fall camp that he played better with a faster tempo, which we tried to create sometimes. And we hurt ourselves in the one jump off sides. We can't do that coming out. We got a 1st and 10 coming off the goal line, and we got to continue to move the ball there. But, I think he plays well when he's playing fast.
Zay Jones, 22 catches. Have you ever faced a team that
How many
target
have?
22? Jones
He had a bunch.
Have you ever seen an individual have that many catches against?
Yeah, he's a good player. Well, we really look back on the 3rd downs. We rolled the coverage on top of him a bunch. Now, of those, his long was 15.
Yeah.
That's the key. They don't big play you, they can't beat you. Because when they get in the red zone, they struggle to run the ball.
Well, and I guess
It's football 101.
You kind of alluded to that earlier. I guess keeping in front.
Keep it in front.
Yeah.
So what? It's frustrating. Everybody can boo me for where we're playing, but at the end of the day, they get in the red zone, they got to struggle to score. That was the game plan. I didn't think he had 22. That's a bunch, huh? But his longest was 15.
They were trying to give him 23 so he could tie the record, but they didn't.
I'm glad he didn't tie it.
Talk to Steve to your left. He might.
Yeah.
Sticking on the theme of red zone a little bit, they get there 6 times, and I think got close a couple others. Does that concern you at all, or is that just kind of the nature of playing a team like this?
No, it's part of how you play. I learned something from a guy I worked for a long time ago. It only counts when they score. I don't look at the stat sheet and say how many total yards they have. No, I look at the scoreboard. I could care less how many yards they have as long as we win the game. Do what it takes to win the game. I told our players if they don't big play us, and they had one big play run on the counter coming on our sideline with Summers, and then they had 2 big play passes on DeAndre and Quay on the over route that we busted. So I think they had 3 explosive plays in the game. An offense like that with 90-something snaps, 3 explosive plays, and you hold them to 5.7 yards per play, that is an outstanding defensive performance. Now, you're going to look at the stat sheet and go, that's 519 yards. These guys stink. That's not right. It's yards per play. When you start looking at stats now in football. It's not about yards. It's about yards per play. Because with all the tempo teams you play, and you're going to play 91 snaps in a game, and you give up 5.7 yards for a play against an offense like that, that is an outstanding job. We had 5.9. I'm going to round it up to 6. So, right.
Anything else for Coach?
Right.
All right, we'll let him go.
All right, thanks.
TJ Holloman, Mason Zandy, first up today. TJ Holloman and Mason Zandy. Questions for these guys, please raise your hand. We'll get a microphone to you, Josh, with the first one.
TJ, how tiring a day is that, being on the field for 91 snaps, and how do you think you guys held up?
Yeah, it was pretty tiring. They ran a lot of plays. I just saw it was 91 plays. That's a lot of snaps. But the defense handled it very well. We came out there. We were very mature. It goes to the offseason condition and, of course, our fans. We played off their energy, and that kept us going.
How much poise does it take to give up those yards without letting that sort of get into your head and to stick to the game plan of playing well in the red zone?
Yeah, we just had to just buckle down. You know, when it got to the red zone, when it counted, we just had to lock into our assignments, lock into our keys, and just execute the game plan.
Anything else for these guys? Josh again, and then Hank.
Mason, how do you think Brandon handled his first start?
Brandon did an outstanding job. He really did. He coming in, you know, as a true freshman, he had poise, he had leadership. You know, I really appreciate what he did today. And also, I want to give a special shout out to our fans. I mean, they were amazing. They were absolutely amazing. We fed off them all game.
TJ, I don't know if you're on the field for either one of the interceptions in the red zone, but what was your perspective on those and maybe what you saw as they were?
Oh, yeah, those guys, Chris and Jamarcus, made big plays. We needed those plays, and they broke in the ball, read their assignments, and just balled out. So I was very happy for them to get off the field. They didn't score, but for them, they did a great job.
And Mason, as you're, I assume, watching on the sideline, what do you see as those two plays unfold?
Yeah, I see a defense that doesn't give up. You know, we feed off them just like they feed off us, and it was amazing to see them go out there and, you know, they drive the ball, but they just could not cross that pylon, which, you know, the defense did a heck of a job today.
Josh and Ben.
Mason, how do you think the offensive line played today?
We played all right. We have a lot of things to improve on. You know, it's still an ongoing process, and we're looking forward to get back into work tomorrow.
TJ, just what is it kind of like going through a game where do you have to kind of keep faith that, you know, you guys were given, you know, maybe 10 or 15 yards at a time through some stretches, but just kind of stay with the game plan that eventually if they get to the red zone, you'll tighten up?
Yeah, we just need to stick to what we know. You know, it came down to just coaching and us following through the game plan. And it shows when we follow through the game plan, understand our assignments, read our keys, and execute, big plays happen like that.
Let's go over there.
Mason, you guys talked a lot about starting quickly this week. How did it feel just for A.J. Turner to jump out to a big kickoff return to start the game?
I mean, that's awesome. You know, that's how you'd like start off every game. You know, but one thing that we're going to emphasize is, you know, we started fast, but we also got to finish fast. You know, we didn't score, but 3 points in the second half, and then we got to step that up.
Mason, you talked about Brandon's poise and maturity. Just what's he like in the huddle pre-snap, and just what do you see from him there?
Brandon's a very, very confident and calm guy. You know, you can look in his eyes, you can tell he's not antsy, you can tell he's not nervous. He trusts his skill set, he trusts his front line, and he likes to go out there and execute. Heck of a ball player.
Anything else for these guys? Got Rick in the middle.
As seniors, how big is it to come back and win your home opener, especially after the disappointment of last week?
It was definitely big, you know. We always want to go out on top. I always want to give back to the school. And they've given us so much as seniors. And now just to be able to go out there and get the win, our first home game, and Coach Muschamp's first home game, it's just awesome experience today.
And just piggyback off what TJ said. You know, the university and the state and the city has already given us so much over the past 5 years, and we can't say how much we appreciate that. And it's just great to go out there and put on a show for our crowd and get that first home win.
Guys, Coach Muschamp said he wants to know how you guys are going to respond going into this week, you know, getting back on the road. How big is this week of preparation, you know, heading back out onto the road?
It's definitely going to be a challenge. You know, any road game in the SEC is always a challenge, and we're going to Kentucky. They're a really good ball game. It's going to be a night game, and it's just going to take a lot for us to, you know, get over this win, 24-hour rule, get over it, and prepare like we did last week. Just lock in and focus into our assignments.
Mason, you talked about getting off to a quick start, especially with this read option being such a vital part of y'all's offense. What were some of the things that ECU did in the second half? They certainly got some penetration. What were some of the things they were doing and adjustments they made?
They were bringing a weak side blitz that we were expecting to happen, and we just needed to make a few adjustments in the interior. And after we did that, I mean, you guys saw it in the fourth quarter. We just started breaking it off, and then we kept pounding them in the middle. And that last play with Dave and with that option, you know, hit him outside, and it goes for what, 25-30. So, I mean, that's all. It's all cumulative.
We got Chris Lamons on the far side, Jamarcus King closer to me. Questions for the two guys with some picks today, right here in front of Andrew.
Chris, Coach kind of called you out last week. This week, you responded. Just talk about that.
I left some plays out there, Mississippi State game. I left some plays out there that he know that I could have made. Like, I could have made those plays in practice. He just called me out. He just want the best for me, so I just had to step it up.
Jamarcus, what do you see as you're making the play on the ball and hauling in your interception?
I just seen ball, so I had to go get it.
Did it seem like it was thrown a little short? It looked like you had the easier, I guess, route to it than the receiver did.
Kind of, but I wasn't even paying attention. I just seen the ball, and I had to grab it.
Yeah, and Chris, for yours as well, was
The coaches put me in the position to make the play, and it was a man-on-man, so I made the play.
Go to Josh then, Mike.
Chris, what's your key that back shoulder throw is coming? What do you read on that?
We played back shoulder first. On goal line, we look to see if it's a quick pass. If it's not, we just flip our head. It's just the coach's technique, and we called it, and I just played it to the best of my ability.
So you're not watching the wide receiver and what he does. You're going through your own progression there.
Yeah, I'm watching because it could be a slant. We don't know that it's going to be a back shoulder. He could run a slant. And if he run a slant, I just have to drive on it. But he ran the back shoulder, so I get my head around quicker. And then I just made a play on the ball.
You kind of touched on it, Chris, but after the issues last week with physicality, how good did it feel to come on that blitz and force that fumble early on?
It felt great. Just going out there and making a play. I wasn't too into it about the media about being physical because coaches know I could be physical, and I just made the play.
Chris, talk a little bit about the red zone defense that you guys played today, the turnovers that you forced, how you got your stops, and then how frustrating it was to see Jones catch so many passes.
Yeah, it was real frustrating. It was real frustrating because he lined up in the slot, got a lot of his passes, and the defense we was playing like let him get all the short catches and everything like that. But in the red zone defense, we just practiced that way, and we made plays.
Anything else for these guys?
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.
We're just waiting on McElwain.
No, I got three other guys.
This time next year. And any of them named McElwain?
No.
I don't know, I'm in Charlotte, so I don't know. Who's coming?
John Williams, David Williams.
I call him right now for you if you want.
Racing Allen Williams to the far side, David Williams close to me, if you're not aware, right there in front bench.
David, just what was it like to put up a performance like this after kind of barely playing last week?
I felt like I had a chip on my shoulder. I wasn't living up to the coach's expectations. That's why I didn't get in the game last week, and I just used it as motivation.
Bryson, the red zone defense, 3 turnovers there. What was consistent?
That's major. Coach Muschamp, they told us with ECU coming in being an up tempo, a fast paced team, it's a bend but don't break defense. And when they get down to the red zone, it's just a lot more pride that you got to have. And I feel like our defense stepped up today. And, we really made a statement that we're not going to be a slack defense in the red zone, especially.
For either of you, after the team not scoring any points in the first half this season, not having a halftime lead, what was the mood on the sidelines and in the huddle when you got off to the fast start today?
I think AJ set the tone first off with the first play of the game, and then I think we just capitalized off that momentum, and we just kept it going. And then defense also did a heck of a job playing up to like 90 snaps and saving us.
Yeah, we weren't complacent. We looked at it going into halftime that, it's no lead because, it's the SEC and, it's college football in general. And, regardless of how much you're up by halftime, the only result that matters is the final score. So we had to make sure that we, kept going out being physical and, kept playing the way, that we play and play our style of football.
And also, I think the fans played a huge part.
Definitely.